I woke up as the cannon fodder male supporting character in a tragic romance novel. The female CEO absolutely despises me. To save her lover, she's forcing me to divorce her. Elias, if you don't sign, I'll break your legs. I quickly did the math on how much alimony I could get and signed the divorce papers without hesitation. Honestly, it's laughable. Anyone who wants to be this stepping stone of a man can have it. I just want to live an easy life now. When I opened my eyes, I was lying under the sun on a huge estate that stretched for miles. It took me a moment to realize what had just happened. Not long ago, I was a shady street vendor selling low-quality grilled sausages. And now, I've transmigrated into this supporting character. According to the novel, I had a business marriage with the female lead, Alice. I'd been obsessed with her for over 10 years, but she never loved me back. Her heart belonged entirely to Benjamin. To break them apart, I'd done every despicable thing possible, only to fall off a cliff and die miserably. Just thinking about that ending made me shiver. The original character was nothing more than cannon fodder, a stepping stone for the main couple. If I wanted to survive, I couldn't follow his path. I rolled over, ready to keep sunbathing, when my phone started ringing. It was Alice. The moment I answered, she snapped, "Elias, you better get your ass over here right now." Then I remembered. Yesterday, Alice had demanded a divorce. I refused, and in anger I ordered someone to kidnap Benjamin. Thankfully, Alice arrived in time with her bodyguards, and Benjamin only got minor injuries. Now, she was definitely coming to settle the score. I hung up in a panic. I had hurt her lover. There's no way she'd let that slide. I had to run. I rushed back inside the mansion. The place was massive, and by the time I reached the living room, I was drenched in sweat. Alice and I slept in separate rooms. But I knew where she kept her expensive jewelry. The original. Elias was just a foster son of the law family, ignored and penniless. His bank account barely had enough for a month's expenses. So before running away, I needed money. I spotted a sapphire necklace that looked insanely valuable. A few of these could set me for life. While I was looking around, I found a sketchbook. Inside were drawings of Alice from her teenage years, each carefully dated and preserved. It was clear that Elias had loved her deeply, but no matter how much he loved her, he meant nothing to her. I remembered the scene before his death. He begged Alice to look at him one last time, but she didn't even glance his way. Her heart belonged to Benjamin alone. What a fool. I put the sketchbook back and grabbed the necklace. Just as I turned to leave, I saw 2 bodyguards walking in. It was over. I was trapped. Half an hour later, they dragged me into a private room. Alice sat in the center, elegant and cold. Her flawless skin and noble aura made her look like she belonged on a throne. No wonder Elias loved her so desperately. She was breathtaking. Benjamin sat beside her, looking every bit the heroic male lead, handsome, calm, and righteous. Around them were other rich elites watching me with smug faces. Alice glared at me. "Elias, get on your knees and apologize to Benjamin." Benjamin grabbed her hand gently. "It's okay, Alice." But she shook her head. "No. He dared to kidnap you. He has to pay." I knew she wouldn't let me off easily. To survive, I had to endure the humiliation. So, I dropped to my knees with a thud. "Sorry, Benjamin. I shouldn't have had you kidnapped." Everyone froze. No one expected me to apologize so fast. Then I asked, "Do I need to kowtow too?" Before Alice could answer, I slammed my head on the floor. "Enough," she snapped, throwing divorce papers at me. "Elias, if you don't sign today, I'll break your legs." Instinctively grabbed my legs. Looking at the papers, I finally understood why she'd called me here. I opened the document to read it. Wait, after the divorce, she'd give me $200 million in alimony and 10 properties. Holy shit, what a deal. Tears welled up in my eyes. I didn't even want to cry. It was just too generous. Seeing me tear up, Alice must have thought I was sad about the divorce. Her brows furrowed as she said impatiently, "Elias, shh." If you don't sign before she could even finish, I picked up the pen, signed my name, and handed her the papers. "So," I asked calmly, "when are we going to get the divorce certificate?" Alice froze, completely stunned. She hadn't expected me to agree so easily. Elias, you really agreed to divorce? I glanced at Benjamin and sighed. Your lover's back. I'm just being generous and helping you out. Alice was surprised, but she didn't dwell on it. For her, getting the divorce done was all that mattered. In the end, we agreed to go get the divorce certificate the next morning after leaving the club. I couldn't resist opening the agreement again just to count the zeros. So much money? In real life, even if I sold sausages every day for the rest of my life, I'd never make that much. No need to buy a new house. I could just pick one of the 10 she gave me, rent or sell the rest. The thought alone made me ecstatic. Alice was quite generous, but to her, it was probably just pocket change. I didn't expect that as soon as I returned to the estate, my phone would ring again. It was Alice. Come to the old mansion. She hung up right after saying that. I checked the time. It was about dinner hour. Maybe she was inviting me to eat? With a wealthy family like the Lee family, the food was probably top tier. Excited, I hurried over. But the moment I arrived, I knew something was wrong. Alice and Benjamin were standing in the center of the living room. While Mr. Lee sat on the couch with a dark expression, he must have just learned that Alice was divorcing me for Benjamin. And he didn't look happy. Benjamin glanced at me before turning to Mr. Lee. Uncle Lee, some things just can't be forced. Alice is already carrying my child. I hope you can support us. What the hell? Alice was pregnant with Benjamin's child? That wasn't in the novel? Maybe the system glitched. Whatever. As long as the money was mine, I didn't care. Alice looked at me with a complicated expression. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but before she could, Mr. Lee slammed his teapot onto the floor. How could I have raised such a shameless daughter? He shouted, furious. He scolded Alice for a long while. I stood quietly to the side, saying nothing. I didn't love Alice, so I wasn't heartbroken, but as a man, it was irritating. Still, thinking about the $200 million in alimony made my mood improve instantly. When Mr. Lee was done, he ordered the servants to throw Benjamin out. Although he was clearly disappointed in Alice, he had no choice but to approve the divorce. Maybe out of guilt toward me, he even sent me a few jade antiques as a parting gift. I threw myself into his arms and cried, "Thank you, Father." The next morning, Alice and I went to the office to finalize the divorce. As soon as we got out of the car, I saw Benjamin waiting by the door. Shh, this guy just couldn't stay away. He looked different from yesterday, his expression smug. He's probably thinking that now that Alice was pregnant, he'd won for sure. I wasn't the old Elias anymore. I didn't plan to fight him over Alice. All I cared about was getting that. Alimony and living the good life. There weren't many people at the office that day, so our turn came quickly. 10 minutes later, we walked out both looking defeated. Benjamin rushed up to us. Alice, did you get the divorce certificate? Alice shook her head. No, Benjamin frowned. How could that be? Did Elias back out? I rolled my eyes. You've never been divorced before, huh? There's a cooling off period now. We have to wait 30 days before it's finalized. I'd only just learned that myself, and it was annoying. Benjamin's tone rose a little too fast. Of course, I've never been divorced. I blinked at him, speechless. Why was he yelling? I couldn't care less about his marital history. Then he glared at me. Elias, I'm warning you. When the time comes, you better show up and sign the papers. Don't even think about backing out. I smirked. Sure, whoever doesn't show up is the dog. Alice's face instantly turned green with anger. I didn't care if it turned blue next. I just walked off. I was feeling light. To make sure nothing delayed, the divorce or the payout made it a point to show up in front of Alice every day. I wanted her to hate me enough to push it through faster. Besides, maybe I could squeeze a little extra money out of her. After all, I'd suffered long enough trying to win her love. Asking for some compensation was perfectly fair, and the more money, the better. Finally, Alice snapped. She tossed me a black card. Get lost. I looked down at the card and couldn't help but grin. All right, I'm gone. Since the divorce wasn't finalized yet, I decided to cheer myself up. I went to a car dealership and drove out with a brand new Rolls-Royce, Cullen unpaid for with Alice's card. For all her arrogance, one thing could be said about Alice. Lishi was never stingy with money. It was one of the few good things about her. As I cruised down the street in my luxury car, I couldn't help but notice how every head turned in my direction. Well, who wouldn't look a handsome guy driving a fancy car? Next, I stopped by the hospital for a full checkup. I had to make sure I'd stay healthy enough to actually enjoy all this money as I was walking out. I heard someone call my name. Elias. I looked up and saw a woman standing there, Selena. She was the childhood friend of the original me, the kind of girl who'd quietly loved him for years. But the old Elias never cared, too obsessed with Alice to notice. Selena and Alice were bitter rivals because of that. After marrying Alice, I hadn't spoken to Selena in ages. I shook my head, thinking how could he ignore such a kind and genuine girl like her? Selena gave me a concerned look. Are you feeling unwell? No, I said, smiling. Just a routine checkup. What about you? She lifted a paper bag in her hand, picking up my dad's heart medicine. After a pause, she added softly, I heard you're divorcing Alice. I nodded. Yeah, she's pregnant with Benjamin's child. What am I supposed to do? Stay? Married and play happy family? Selena's eyes widened, then narrowed as if she was studying me. Elias, you seem different. You used to be completely obsessed with Alice. Trying to hide my unease, I cleared my throat. After chasing her for so many years and getting nothing in return, I'm done. She can love whoever she wants. I'm rich. Good-looking, finding a new wife won't be hard. Selena kept watching me like she was trying to see through me. I forced a laugh. Anyway, let's grab a meal sometime. I've got to go. She was too sharp for her own good, so I left before she could figure me out. The next 28 days crawled by during the cooling-off period. I spent my time eating, drinking, shopping, and packing everything I could. The more I took, the better. Whatever I didn't need, I'd sell later. When the waiting period was finally over, I reminded Alice to come finalize the divorce. She frowned, giving me a strange look. Elias, why do I feel like you're more eager to get divorced than I am? I blinked. What man would want to stay with a cheating wife? I'm just thinking about you, I said. If we don't hurry. When your baby's born, whose name will it carry? It can't be mine, right? Alice hesitated for a few seconds. Elias, enough. I cut her off. The child can't be under my name. I'm not playing dad. Her face darkened. We walked to the parking lot, and just as we reached the car, her phone rang. She answered, and her expression instantly shifted tight, angry. When she hung up, she grabbed my arm. Benjamin's missing. Do you have something to do with it? Where is he missing? I repeated, stunned. It's not me, she glared. Impossible. You must have hidden him because you don't want the divorce. I almost laughed. You think I have time for that? But deep down, I was worried. If something really happened to Benjamin, she'd definitely think I did it. How do you even know he's missing? I asked. She said they were supposed to meet for lunch, but no one could reach him or find him anywhere. Take me to his place, I said. Maybe we'll find something. Alice narrowed her eyes. Elias, if anything happens to Benjamin, I won't forgive you. I ignored her threat. Finding Benjamin came first. At his apartment, we searched everywhere. No sign of him. Could he have vanished into thin air? Alice glared at me again. If this is one of your games... I suddenly heard something. Without waiting, I rushed into the bathroom, and there he was. Benjamin slumped by the toilet, reeking of alcohol. Alice ran to him immediately. Benjamin, Benjamin, wake up. He slowly opened his eyes. Alice, what are you doing here? We were supposed to meet for lunch. Did you forget? He stood up, rubbing his temples. Yeah, drank too much last night with some friends. I turned to Alice's bodyguards. You guys didn't think to check the bathroom? One of them looked down. We didn't expect him to be there? Clearly, I rolled my eyes. Alice glared at them. You're all useless. I sighed. You really should stop blaming me for everything. Next time, check properly before accusing me. Or before she could respond. Benjamin jumped in. If you hadn't had me kidnapped last time, she wouldn't have suspected you. I almost laughed. Right. Next time you plan to pass out next to a toilet, send me a text first. You. I ignored him completely and looked at Alice. Let's go. I've got alimony to collect. Later at the Civil Affairs office, the place was packed. After waiting forever, we finally got our divorce certificate. The money and property were settled too. I couldn't stop smiling. Finally free. Now on, it's all good food, comfort, and peace. Alice stared at me. Elias, what are you smiling about? I'd suffered for years, and now I finally had what I wanted. Why wouldn't I smile? Nothing, I said casually. I'm heading out. That same day, I moved into a new apartment in the city center, spacious, quiet, and all mine. It's not as big as the estate, but it's perfect for just me. The Law family wasn't happy when they found out about my divorce from Alice. They even called me asking me to beg her for forgiveness and patch things up. To them, I was nothing more than a pawn away to keep the Law family tied to the Lee family. So I ignored their calls and blocked every number they used. Honestly, it was laughable. If someone else wants to play the role of a pitiful side character, they can go ahead. I just want to enjoy my life. That night I went to a bar. Life is short, so I might as well enjoy it while it lasts. After just a couple of drinks, I ran into Selena. Elias, you are actually at a bar, drinking? She said, clearly surprised. I could not blame her. The old Elias never went near places like this. I pulled out the divorce paper from my pocket and showed it to her. I am divorced now, I said with a grin. Don't I deserve to celebrate? Selena looked at the paper, then smiled softly. Well, how about I keep you company for a few drinks? I smirked. How about you buy me one? The Ma family, like the Lee family, was very wealthy, and Selena was their only child. She had more money than she could ever spend, so letting her treat me was practically charity. Selena sat down, rested her chin on her hand, and looked at me. Alice was never exactly a saint, but I bet she did not hold back on the alimony, she said. I laughed. Oh, definitely not. I will probably get married again someday. I need to save up for my next wife. Selena raised an eyebrow. You are already thinking about remarriage? So soon after the divorce? I shrugged. What else am I supposed to do? Stay single for her? She's in the past now. I do not know which part amused Selena, but she suddenly smiled and said she would cover all my expenses for the night. I was thrilled and immediately ordered an expensive bottle of wine. The next morning, I woke up in a hotel bed. Selena was sleeping beside me. I froze, panicking for a second, and checked myself. Thankfully, nothing had happened. Selena woke up, looked at me, and sighed. If you are going to drink, at least know your limits. You're heavy, you know. It was exhausting getting you here. Turns out I had gotten too drunk and she brought me to the nearest hotel so I would not pass out on the street. She stayed up to make sure I did not throw up, then fell asleep beside me. I looked at her and chuckled. She was definitely more reliable than Alice. I remembered the time Elias got drunk and argued with Alice. She got so mad she told the guards to throw him out. He spent the night sleeping on the lawn. After that, he swore never to drink again. After packing up, Selena and I checked out of the hotel. As we stepped outside, I saw Alice nearby. She was with Benjamin, who wore a sharp suit. Looked like she was escorting a client. This hotel belonged to the Lee group after all. Selena nudged me, whispering for me to look. I just shrugged. A good ex should act like they are dead. No reason to say hi. People like me are background characters. I know my place. It is better to keep my distance. Alice glanced my way and hesitated before turning to Benjamin. They exchanged a few words, and his expression darkened before he left in his car. Then Alice started walking toward me, her face cold and angry. I need to talk to you, she said sharply. Before I could answer, Selena spoke up. I will wait for you in the car.
Oh.
Then she walked away. I looked at Alice. What is it? She stared at me. What is your relationship with Selena? I wanted to laugh. She was my ex. What right did she have to question me? Whatever you think it is, that is what it is, I said. Maybe she noticed my attitude had changed. Because she hesitated and pressed her lips together. Then she said quietly, I am not pregnant. That caught me off guard. So Benjamin must have used that lie to get the Lee family to agree to the divorce. But honestly, it did not matter. Her heart always belonged to him, baby or not. I shrugged. Well then, you better work on getting pregnant with Benjamin's kid, I said flatly. Alice froze, staring at me. What did you just say? I laughed. I am just wishing you both the best. You always wanted to be with him, now you finally can. She went silent. I figured she had nothing left to say, so I turned to leave. Elias, she called. I stopped. What is it? My tone was calm, but clearly impatient. She looked at me strangely. I will drive you home. I waved her off. No need. Selena's giving me a ride. Without waiting for her reply, I walked away. When I got in the car, I looked back. Alice was still standing there, not moving. Selena glanced at me from the driver's seat. You are not still thinking about her, are you? Do not be ridiculous, I said, leaning back. Hey, look at that girl in the short skirt over there. She's cute, right? My vision is still a little blurry, though. I might still be a bit drunk. Selena rolled her eyes. I thought you were still hung up on Alice. Turns out you're already back to chasing other women. I'd have to be insane to still care about her, I said with a laugh. She's bad luck for me. Maybe the original Elias really did die because of her, and that's why I ended up in his place. Selena laughed softly. I looked at her, and honestly, she looked even prettier when she smiled. The next few days were pure bliss. I took a 2-week vacation, traveled around, and finally understood why so many people dream of being rich. The freedom of doing nothing at all, it's just too good. When I got back, Selena came to visit with some news. She told me Benjamin had once married a rich woman abroad, but when she found a younger, more handsome man, she dumped him. After that, he divorced and came back to China to look for Alice. No wonder he'd been so emotional during the divorce. Alice was furious when she found out Benjamin had lied to her. They had a massive fight, and she ended up falling down the stairs and getting injured. Selena looked at me. If you still want her back, now's your chance. She's in the hospital. She thought I still loved Alice because of how obsessed Elias used to be. I sneered. You're kidding, right? I want to live a long life, not waste it on her. Just then, my phone rang. It was Alice. Hello? I answered. Her voice was weak and hoarse. Elias, I'm in the hospital. I rolled my eyes. Why should I care? I'm not her mom. Still, I said, oh, well, take care of yourself. Elias, aren't you coming to see me? She asked softly. And that's when I remembered 2 years ago. She'd been in a car accident, and the old Elias had stayed by her side, caring for her more than any nurse ever could. Even after everything, she still treated him coldly. And now she was calling me what? Did she expect me to rush to the hospital and take care of her? Not a chance. We're divorced. There's no reason for us to stay in touch. And I'm definitely not coming to visit you. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. After I ended the call, I noticed Selena watching me quietly. You said you'd take me out for a meal, she reminded me. I had said that offhandedly and didn't expect her to remember it. Fine, I sighed. I'll go buy groceries, and we can eat at home. At! She raised an eyebrow. Can you even cook? The old Elias couldn't, but I could. It's not that hard. Wait here, I'll go grab the ingredients and make you a feast. Honestly, it was also to save money. If we went out to eat, she'd probably make me spend tens of thousands. 2 hours later, Selena sat at the table with her thumb up. Wow, this is impressive. You're almost as good as a professional chef, she said between bites. A rich girl like her, used to fancy dishes, was praising my simple home-cooked food like it was something special. Watching her enjoy it made me feel oddly satisfied. Then I dropped my chopsticks. Both of us reached for them at the same time, and when our fingers touched, we froze. Selena's face turned bright red. She tried to pull her hand away, but I caught it. Selena, I said softly. She looked up, eyes wide, and honestly my heart was racing. Compared to Alice's cold, untouchable nature, Selena felt warm and real. She looked strong on the outside, but was gentle underneath. Holding my breath, I leaned in and kissed her cheek. Her eyes widened even more. You, she began, but before she could finish, The doorbell rang. I stood up to answer it, and to my surprise, it was Alice. She looked thin and pale, with bandages around her head. Her whole appearance screamed tragedy. I couldn't help but think, wasn't it just a breakup? Did she really need to look like she was dying over it? Her voice was shaky as she said, "I looked at that album, and now I know how much you loved me. I'm sorry, Elias. I was wrong. Can you forgive me?" It was true Elias had really loved Alice. That much was obvious from the album. But when I didn't answer, she started crying. "Elias, I regret it," she said, her voice breaking. "I shouldn't have divorced you. I've missed you so much these past few weeks. Can you come back to me?" If Elias were still here, he would have been crushed seeing her cry like that. But I wasn't him. Her tears didn't move me at all. "Alice, there's no such thing as a regret pill in this world," I said firmly. "We're done." Alice panicked. "I don't believe it." I know, before she could finish, Selena appeared and wrapped her arms around my waist. "Elias, those roasted ribs you made are amazing," she said, smiling. "I'm glad you like them," I replied, returning her smile. Selena looked at Alice and giggled. "You're quite something, Miss Lee. A guest shows up and you don't even invite her to sit down." Alice's face turned ghostly white. She gave me a heartbroken look, then turned and ran off. Watching her go, I couldn't help but think how the mighty have fallen. Selena pinched my side and pouted. "What was that look on your face just now? You kissed me earlier? Are you trying to back out?" I chuckled and patted her head. "Back out, please? I'm more afraid you'll dump me." Her cheeks turned pink, and before I knew it, she threw herself into my arms. I held her close. She felt soft, warm, and it felt right. A few weeks later, after we made things official, Selena took me to meet her parents. Knowing her dad had a heart condition, I brought some health supplements as a gift. They liked me instantly and didn't care that I was divorced. They even asked when we planned to get married, since Selena wasn't getting any younger. I held her hand and said, "Next month." Her parents lit up with smiles and wished us well before heading upstairs. Selena turned to me, looking a little flustered. "You told my parents we're getting married next month, but..." She trailed off when she noticed the diamond ring in my hand. I had bought it earlier. I didn't want to lose my chance. I looked her in the eyes. "Selena, will you marry me?" The diamond sparkled a full 10 carats. I might be thrifty about other things, but when it came to the woman I loved, I wasn't holding back. Tears filled Selena's eyes. I smiled and reached out to wipe them, but she slapped my hand away. "Stop wiping my tears," she said, laughing through her tears. "Hurry up and put the ring on me." I laughed too and slipped the ring onto her finger. She hugged me tight and I held her close. The following weeks flew by as we prepared for the wedding. The morning before the big day, we went to a bridal shop for her dress fitting. While she changed, I sat waiting until I felt someone's gaze. I looked up. Alice was standing there. "Are you really going to marry Selena?" she asked softly. I nodded. "Yes, the date's already set." Her expression turned pained. "Can't you not marry her?" "Alice," I said, cutting her off. "You don't love me. You're just jealous because someone else does." She shook her head, tears falling. "No, I thought I loved Benjamin, but after the divorce, I realized it was you. I can't let you go, Elias. I love you." I didn't want Selena to see this scene and ruin her joy, so I said calmly, "Even if you regret it, it has nothing to do with me. I only want to be with Selena now." Alice's tears kept falling. "Look," I added, "I don't even feel anything watching you cry. Don't you get it? I don't love you anymore." Her lip trembled. She turned and walked away. Outside, rain poured down hard. She didn't have an umbrella, letting the rain drench her completely. She looked nothing like the proud woman she once was. But I felt nothing. Then Selena walked out in her wedding dress, stunning beyond words. "Sweetheart, you look incredible," I said, mesmerized. She blushed. "You're just full of sweet talk." "I'm serious," I said, pulling her close. "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." The wedding day came soon after. Selena and I were overjoyed. As I carried her in my arms after the ceremony, I thought I saw Alice's figure in the distance, but I didn't care. Looking down at Selena, I smiled, completely at peace. "Sweetheart," I whispered, "this is exactly where I want to be."